In the not-so-distant future, space exploration is no longer just a dream. It's a reality. Humanity is on the brink of conquering Mars, and one extraordinary individual is about to change the course of history forever. A black pilot, against all odds, sets out on a journey to make a mark on the Red Planet. Before we dive deeper into this gripping story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Epic Story Moments. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Like, share, and comment to support more incredible stories like this. But what if I told you that the mission to Mars wasn't just about landing a spacecraft, but about shattering stereotypes and rewriting the narrative of space exploration? This pilot wasn't just aiming to land on Mars. He was determined to prove that race, background, and adversity are no match for talent and ambition. With every step, the world doubted him. But as he crossed the final frontier, he showed us all that true pioneers aren't defined by where they come from. They're defined by where they're going. The space industry had never seen anything like this. The question is, what happens when the impossible becomes reality? The craze for space exploration has reached an unprecedented level on Earth. From the moment humanity set its eyes on the stars, the dream of venturing beyond our planet seemed impossible. Yet, as technology advanced and scientific innovations broke barriers, space exploration gradually became a reality. Mars, our neighboring planet, once viewed as a mirror in the vastness of the universe, has now become the next great frontier for mankind. The idea of sending a human mission to Mars was once considered a distant dream, something far too ambitious for even the brightest minds. But now, with each passing year, the dream inches closer to reality. Plans are being drawn, missions are being launched, and the whole world watches eagerly, wondering when the first humans will step foot on the Martian surface. In the midst of this monumental moment in human history, a new figure emerges. A pilot who is not just embarking on a regular space mission, but is determined to achieve something unprecedented. His name is not known to the world just yet, but his actions are about to etch it into history forever. This pilot is a black man, an individual who, from the very beginning, has had to overcome obstacles that others could never imagine. His journey is not just about space exploration. It is about pushing past barriers, redefining the limits of possibility, and showing the world that race, background, and history should never determine the future of a person's dreams. The space agency he belongs to, whether NASA or another agency, had never before selected someone like him for such an ambitious mission. The competition was fierce, and the selection process was grueling. But despite all odds, he emerged victorious. He was chosen to be part of the elite team that would be tasked with landing on Mars. It was a momentous achievement, not just for him personally, but for the history of space exploration and the broader narrative of human progress. Yet, this was only the beginning. The real challenge was about to unfold. This pilot's journey wasn't going to be easy. In fact, it was going to be far from it. He was stepping into a world where people questioned his qualifications, his abilities, and his very place in this monumental mission. From the start, he knew he would face skepticism, not just from the public, but from within the space agency itself. The world, despite its progress, still held on to certain biases. And in the eyes of many, a black man becoming the first to land on Mars seemed like an impossible dream, something reserved for the privileged few. As he prepared for the mission, he faced constant doubt. He had to prove himself at every step, working tirelessly to sharpen his skills, enhance his knowledge, and overcome every hurdle that stood in his way. His training sessions were brutal, his evaluations intense, and his resilience tested at every turn. It was a journey that forced him to dig deeper into his own determination, drawing strength from every hardship he had faced throughout his life. But it wasn't just about physical strength or technical prowess. It was about the mental toughness to rise above negativity and show the world that he belonged there just as much as anyone else. Mars was no ordinary destination. It was a planet that had never hosted human life before, and the task of safely landing a spacecraft on its surface was an unprecedented challenge. The pilot, however, was determined not to let fear or doubt control his destiny. Every training simulation, every flight test, every new development brought him closer to his ultimate goal. Mars wasn't just a destination for him. It was a stage on which he would prove that barriers could be broken, that even the most impossible dreams could come true. But even as the pilot grew more confident in his abilities, the world outside remained skeptical. There were whispers, comments about his race, his background, and whether someone like him could truly succeed in such a high-stakes mission. The doubt wasn't just from his peers. It was embedded deep within the societal fabric. Yet, with every challenge he overcame, he silenced the voices of those who doubted him. The world would soon have to watch him rise above the noise and achieve the impossible. The goal was clear. This pilot wasn't just there to land on Mars. He wasn't just going to become another astronaut to add to the list of those who have traveled beyond Earth's atmosphere. No! He was set to become the first black man to land on Mars. It was a dream not just for him, but for millions of others who looked up to him, who saw in him the embodiment of resilience, hope, and the pursuit of greatness. It was a dream that transcended space exploration. It became a symbol for every person who had ever been told that their dreams were too big, too impossible. As the days counted down to the mission's launch, the world watched with bated breath. The pilot had already become a symbol of inspiration to many, especially to young black children who dreamed of one day following in his footsteps. They saw in him a beacon of hope, a testament that no dream was too far out of reach. And as the mission finally took off, the world cheered. It wasn't just the pilot leaving Earth. It was history in the making. Every mile he flew, every obstacle he overcame, was a step closer to proving that the future belongs to everyone, regardless of their past or their race. The moment of truth was coming. The pilot was about to do what no one else had ever done before. And when he stepped foot on Mars, it would not just be a triumph of technology and innovation. It would be a triumph of human spirit and determination, showing the world that dreams, no matter how impossible they seem, are worth chasing. As the day of the mission draws nearer, the anticipation in the air is palpable. This is a moment unlike any other in human history, and yet, for the pilot, it feels like the weight of the world is on his shoulders. The world may be watching, but the most difficult part isn't the space mission itself. It's the journey that's led him here. He's always known that being part of this mission would be hard, but he never imagined just how many obstacles he would face before even boarding the spacecraft. From the moment he began his training, there were those who doubted him. Voices from all corners, from fellow astronauts to people outside the agency, questioning his qualifications. Despite his impeccable training and exceptional skills, there were whispers of uncertainty, fueled by the color of his skin. The fact that he was black became a constant point of judgment for some, as if it somehow affected his capability to perform in the most dangerous and high-stakes mission of all time. Some of his colleagues believed that his race, despite his obvious talent and intelligence, might affect his performance in a field traditionally dominated by people from different backgrounds. In the eyes of many, space exploration had long been reserved for the best of the best, and somehow, his background seemed like a disadvantage. He had been judged before even getting the chance to prove himself. These doubts weren't just small remarks here and there. They were part of the larger conversation, whispers in hallways and quick glances exchanged in meeting rooms. It was as if every step he took was being scrutinized just a little bit more than the others. Every mistake he made was being judged more harshly, and every success felt like it had to be earned harder than it ever should have been. The pilot fought tirelessly to rise above these challenges, but each day was a reminder that the path he was walking was not the same as his colleagues. There were moments when he felt isolated, like the weight of the mission was too much to carry. He wasn't just fighting to land on Mars. He was fighting against a world that hadn't yet accepted that someone like him belonged in the highest echelons of space exploration. But despite these external pressures, his determination grew stronger. He was here for a reason. He had earned his place. As the mission launch approached, his team dynamics became another point of stress. The pilot would be working alongside several other astronauts, each a highly skilled professional chosen for their expertise and experience. On paper, the team was perfect. They had been trained for years together, working seamlessly as a unit, ready to face the challenges of Mars. But despite this apparent unity, the pilot quickly realized that some of his fellow astronauts were not as enthusiastic about working with him as others. Their reactions were subtle but clear: a lack of trust, a sense that he didn't quite belong, that his presence in the mission was a result of diversity quotas rather than merit. These tensions between him and certain team members created an underlying level of discomfort that no one talked about openly, but everyone felt. The pilot had always prided himself on his ability to remain calm under pressure, but there were moments when he could feel the weight of judgment in the air. Some team members were more than willing to help him when he asked, but others kept their distance, making sure to always question his every move. It was as if he had to prove himself to his teammates just as much as he had to prove himself to the world. But the pilot wasn't naive. He knew that his journey wasn't just about landing on Mars. He had always known that if he made it to this point, he would be carrying not just the weight of the mission, but the weight of every expectation placed on him because of who he was. He would be representing not just himself, but an entire community, an entire race of people who had fought long and hard to even get the opportunity to be at the table. The pressure was immense, and every day he had to battle the isolation and doubt, even from the people who were supposed to have his back. As the team prepped for the launch, the stress of their mission intensified. Everyone knew how dangerous this mission would be. The risks of flying to Mars, landing safely, and establishing a sustainable human presence were astronomical. And for the pilot, this pressure was compounded by the fear that his every move would be under a microscope. With each new test, with every preparation, it felt like the stakes were even higher, not just for him, but for everyone watching. Could he do it? Would he prove all the doubters wrong? The mission's success was no longer just a matter of technology or planning. It was also about overcoming the deep-seated prejudices and expectations that threatened to undermine everything he stood for. Still, despite these overwhelming challenges, the pilot pressed on. There was a fire inside him, a belief that he could not only succeed, but that his success would be a turning point, a defining moment in history. This wasn't just about getting to Mars. It was about proving that anyone, no matter their race or background, could defy the odds and achieve greatness. As the launch date drew nearer, he knew that he was fighting for something much larger than himself. The mission to Mars was just the first step, but the impact of his success would go far beyond the red planet. It would send ripples through every corner of the world, inspiring people from all walks of life to reach higher and dream bigger. The journey had begun, and with each passing day, the pilot grew more resolute. Mars awaited, but it was not just a planet he was traveling toward. It was a future where anything was possible, no matter who you were. And though his journey would not be easy, he knew that in the end, his victory would be one that changed the world forever. As the mission to Mars looms ever closer, the preparation becomes more intense and demanding. Every day is a new challenge, a test of both physical endurance and mental fortitude. The pilot and his team of astronauts are immersed in a rigorous training regimen designed to ensure they are ready for every aspect of the mission. From the complex and technical elements of space travel to the simple, everyday tasks that will become crucial on Mars. Every detail must be perfected. There is no room for error. Each task is meticulously planned and executed, with the team pushing themselves to the absolute limit. The training sessions are grueling. They spend hours in simulators, navigating through the vast and unknown expanse of space. They practice landing the spacecraft on Mars, rehearsing emergency procedures, and adjusting to the weightlessness of space. It's not just about mastering the technology. It's about understanding every movement, every calculation, every action in the confined, high-stakes environment that is their new reality. Their space suits, high-tech equipment, and specialized tools must be used flawlessly, and the astronauts are tested on every possible scenario, from equipment malfunctions to life-threatening emergencies. One of the most challenging aspects of the training is the physical toll it takes. For the pilot, this means pushing his body to new limits. The suits are bulky, restricting movement, making even the simplest tasks difficult. The training environments are designed to mimic the harsh conditions of space. Extreme temperatures, low oxygen levels, and simulated gravity changes. The pressure is unrelenting. Each team member must perform their tasks with the precision of a surgeon and the endurance of an athlete. There is no margin for error. Every failure is a step toward perfection, but each mistake feels like a setback, especially with the eyes of the world upon them. The pilot, despite his training and experience, begins to feel the weight of the mission pressing down on him. Despite his exceptional skills and preparation, there are moments during the training when doubt creeps in. The intensity of the mission, coupled with the pressure to prove himself, creates a constant battle within him. He begins to wonder if he's truly cut out for this mission, if his skills are enough to take on the most challenging task humanity has ever faced. These doubts are further exacerbated by the team's tension. His fellow astronauts, who had been prepared for this mission for years, sometimes question his capabilities, subtly undermining his confidence. While some continue to support him, others hold back, treating him as a potential liability. The pilot's inner struggle grows as the final preparations for the mission unfold. He questions his place in the team, feeling as if his every move is being judged. Is he really prepared for this? Has he been pushed too hard? The weight of his race, his background, and the legacy of those who have come before him weighs heavily on his shoulders. He's not just carrying the mission's success on his back. He's carrying the hopes and dreams of a community that has long been excluded from such high-stakes roles in society. But amidst the self-doubt, the pilot finds a wellspring of motivation deep inside. He reminds himself of his original goal, to be the first black pilot to land on Mars. That singular vision, that driving force, pushes him to keep going even when he feels like he might break. He recalls the years of struggle and perseverance it took to even be considered for this mission, and the countless sacrifices he made to get to this point. This mission isn't just for him. It's for everyone who has ever been told they weren't good enough, that their dreams were too big. He begins to shift his mindset. Instead of letting the pressure overwhelm him, he starts to use it as fuel. Every moment of doubt, every obstacle, becomes a reminder of how far he's come. The fear that once crippled him now drives him forward. He becomes determined to prove everyone wrong, to show the world that he belongs here just as much as anyone else. And in the process, he realizes that his journey is no longer just about landing on Mars. It's about proving that barriers can be broken, that people from all walks of life can achieve greatness if they are given the opportunity. The pilot focuses on the small wins. In every training session, he strives for improvement. Each day, he becomes more confident in his abilities. His technical skills grow sharper, and his coordination with the team strengthens. He begins to bond with the astronauts, building trust and communication. The team dynamics start to shift as they begin to rely on each other more and more, understanding that their success depends not just on individual skill, but on working together as a unified force. Through it all, the pilot draws strength from his ultimate goal, reaching Mars, not just for the glory, but to prove that a black man can make history. He knows that his success will be a moment of reckoning for the space industry, showing that space exploration is for everyone, regardless of race or background. His presence in this mission symbolizes hope for a new generation of explorers who will look up to him and know that they too can dream of reaching the stars. With each passing day, his confidence grows and the doubts begin to fade. He knows that the mission will be difficult, that Mars will not be an easy target to conquer. But with the support of his team, the pilot is ready. The training is almost complete, and the countdown to launch day is approaching. He's learned to embrace the challenges, to use them as stepping stones toward success. This is his moment, the culmination of years of hard work, resilience, and belief. The mission to Mars is no longer just a dream. It's a reality, and he is ready to make history. The final countdown to Mars is underway, and the atmosphere inside the spacecraft is thick with anticipation. Every member of the team is on edge, but there is a sense of calm, a collective focus. This is the moment they've all been working toward. The culmination of years of training, sacrifice, and determination. The spacecraft, with its crew of astronauts, begins its descent into Mars' atmosphere. Everything has been meticulously planned and rehearsed. Yet as the pilot knows all too well, space is unpredictable. The spacecraft enters the Martian atmosphere, and for the pilot, it feels as though time slows down. The deep, rumbling vibrations of the spacecraft reverberate through his body as it fights against Mars' thin atmosphere. The tension in the cockpit is almost tangible. Every second feels like an eternity. This isn't just any landing. This is history in the making. But as the spacecraft begins its descent, the pilot's mind races. The stakes have never been higher. As the landing sequence begins, the system suddenly begins to malfunction. The pilot feels the spacecraft lurch as a series of technical issues arise. For a brief, heart-stopping moment, the instruments begin to flicker and the screens blink as if mocking his every move. The system, which had been flawless in simulations, is showing signs of failure. The pilot's calm demeanor begins to waver as he quickly checks every monitor, trying to assess the problem. His heart pounds in his chest. Every second counts. There's no room for panic. This is the moment where everything he's learned, every skill he's honed, will either make or break the mission. The spacecraft is falling faster than anticipated. The pilot's eyes dart across the controls. He can feel the tension building in his chest, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The team members in the control room, miles away on Earth, are watching in anxious silence. Every movement is critical. The pilot knows that he must regain control of the spacecraft before it's too late. His fingers hover over the buttons, and then, without hesitation, he makes the call. He overrides the system's automatic descent, taking manual control of the spacecraft. His hands are steady, even though his mind is racing. With years of training and experience, he begins to make the necessary adjustments to stabilize the descent. He communicates with his team, who are also monitoring the situation closely, but in that moment, it's clear that the pilot alone has the power to save this mission. He adjusts the thrusters, recalibrates the landing system, and guides the spacecraft toward a more stable descent trajectory. Slowly, inch by inch, the ship begins to stabilize. The screens flicker back on, and the systems start to hum steadily again. In those tense minutes, the pilot knows that this landing will not be like any other. It's not just about getting the spacecraft to the surface. It's about making sure that every astronaut, every piece of technology, every dream is safe. The pilot remains calm, his mind working at lightning speed as he runs through every possible scenario. The spacecraft shakes again as it hits a particularly turbulent pocket of atmosphere, but this time, he is ready. With one final thrust of the thrusters, the spacecraft breaks through the turbulent descent and begins its final approach to the Martian surface. And then, as if time has stopped, the spacecraft lands. The ground beneath them is firm, steady. Mars has welcomed them. The pilot's breath catches in his throat, and a wave of relief washes over him. He takes a moment to compose himself before sending the signal back to Earth. The mission has been a success. His team, once unsure of his abilities, now knows that their success is thanks to his quick thinking and calm under pressure. He has proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he was the right choice for this mission. As the pilot unbuckles his seatbelt and prepares to step into history, a message from Earth comes through the comms. The news of their successful landing has already begun to spread across the globe. The world, which had been holding its breath, bursts into a frenzy of celebration. The first black pilot to land on Mars. The words echo in the pilot's mind, but the significance of the moment is not lost on him. This isn't just a personal victory. It's a moment that will forever change the narrative of space exploration. Across the world, people are watching. In living rooms, in classrooms, and in the streets, families gather around their televisions, cheering, clapping, and crying. The pilot's success is a beacon of hope for millions of people who have always dreamed of breaking barriers, achieving greatness, and rewriting the rules. It's a historic moment, a triumph of human perseverance and capability. The pilot knows that this moment, this landing, is more than just a technological feat. It's a statement to the world that anything is possible. The streets of cities from New York to Johannesburg are filled with cheers as the news spreads. People celebrate not just the successful landing on Mars, but the message that the pilot has sent. Dreams are limitless. As the pilot steps onto the Martian surface, the camera zooms in on his face, and his eyes are filled with emotion. He is standing on a planet that humanity has only dreamed of reaching, and he is the one who made it happen. But more importantly, he has made a statement to the world. The pilot's journey, his struggle, and his victory will inspire generations to come. This isn't just a historic landing on Mars. It's a turning point for humanity, a moment that will be remembered for centuries. The pilot's legacy will live on, not just in the history books, but in the hearts and minds of people everywhere who now believe that they too can achieve the impossible. And for the pilot himself, as he stands on the surface of Mars, the world watching in awe, he realizes that this moment will forever change the trajectory of his life and of history itself. As the spacecraft touches down on the surface of Mars, the world erupts in a wave of celebration and disbelief. The pilot's historic achievement, once considered impossible by many, has now become a reality. News outlets around the globe break into live coverage, broadcasting the breathtaking images of the first black pilot setting foot on Mars. In every corner of the world, people watch in awe, and social media explodes with messages of congratulations, pride, and admiration. From bustling cities to remote villages, the pilot's success is a source of inspiration for millions. People gather in public spaces, in schools and homes. Everywhere, the story of his triumph is shared, discussed, and celebrated. Families, friends, and strangers alike celebrate as if it were their own victory. For many, this is not just the achievement of one individual. It is a moment for humanity to reflect on how far we've come, how many barriers have been broken, and how the future is now wide open to anyone with the determination to reach for the stars. Social media is flooded with hashtags like hashtag First Black Pilot on Mars, hashtag History in the Making, and hashtag Mars Hero. Messages of support and pride flood in from every corner of the earth. People from different countries, cultures, and backgrounds rally around this historic moment, united in the belief that this achievement symbolizes hope, perseverance, and the power of dreams. Across continents, the pilot is hailed as a hero, not just for his incredible feat of landing on Mars, but for the message of inclusivity, possibility, and unity that his journey has come to represent. Celebrities, political leaders, and public figures all weigh in with their praise. High-profile individuals from around the world send congratulatory messages, calling the pilot's achievement a monumental step for both space exploration and human progress. National leaders give speeches celebrating the pilot's success, and international organizations commend his bravery, skill, and determination. Schools across the globe plan to teach about his journey, sharing his story as a beacon of inspiration for future generations. His name becomes synonymous with breaking barriers and defying the odds. At the same time, space agencies like NASA, SpaceX, and other key players in the space industry recognize the significance of the moment. They issue statements congratulating the pilot for his exceptional skill and resilience. The pilot's achievement is not just seen as a personal victory, but as a collective success for humanity. Space agencies, which once doubted his capabilities, are now full of praise. His expertise in navigating the spacecraft through the technical challenges of landing on Mars has proven to be invaluable, and his calm under pressure has become the benchmark for future space exploration missions. The mission that was once a topic of skepticism and doubt within the industry has now become a defining moment in space history. The pilot's successful Mars landing is viewed as groundbreaking not just because of his race or background, but because of his ability to handle the immense pressures of the mission. The techniques he employed to solve the technical issues during the descent are analyzed, dissected, and studied by engineers and astronauts worldwide. The skills and decisions that he exhibited during the crisis are now seen as a new standard for how space missions will be handled in the future. The landing itself becomes a case study for the space industry, leading to a reassessment of current training practices and mission planning. The industry, which was previously reluctant to include diverse perspectives in its ranks, now realizes that innovation comes from a wide range of voices and experiences. The pilot's success encourages companies and agencies to diversify their teams, creating more opportunities for people from all backgrounds to participate in space exploration. His ability to navigate complex problems with limited resources and time has sparked a shift in how the industry views the role of astronauts, and specifically, the role of underrepresented groups within the field. More than just a technological achievement, the pilot's success sets a new bar for what is possible. The blueprint for landing on Mars has been rewritten, and future missions will incorporate lessons learned from this groundbreaking journey. Space agencies begin to refine their protocols, taking into account the unforeseen challenges the pilot faced and overcoming them with innovative solutions. The technical issues during the landing process are now viewed as learning opportunities, and the industry collectively acknowledges that the pilot's actions have raised the bar for future space missions. The pilot's historic achievement also triggers a sense of urgency in the global space race. Countries around the world are motivated to accelerate their own space programs, with plans for lunar bases and Mars exploration already in the works. The pilot's success shifts the entire industry's focus onto Mars in a way that wasn't seen before. What once seemed like an unattainable goal has now become the new frontier. Countries are now pouring resources into preparing their astronauts for Mars, knowing that the next generation of explorers will be expected to follow in the pilot's footsteps and take things even further. At the same time, a new wave of respect for the human spirit emerges. The pilot's success isn't just a victory for space exploration. It's a victory for every person who has ever faced adversity and doubt, only to rise above it. His journey from self-doubt to confidence, from being underestimated to achieving the impossible, becomes a symbol of perseverance and resilience that inspires countless people to chase their own dreams. He has shattered the glass ceiling, not just for himself, but for an entire generation of dreamers who now know that no goal is too far out of reach. As the pilot gazes at the Earth from the surface of Mars, he knows that his journey has just begun. His success is a stepping stone, not just for space exploration, but for humanity as a whole. The message is clear. Anyone, regardless of their background or where they come from, can reach for the stars. And for the world, the ripple effects of this historic landing will be felt for years to come. The pilot's name will forever be etched into history, and his legacy will continue to inspire generations to push the boundaries of what is possible. After months of intense isolation in space and the emotional roller coaster of landing on Mars, the pilot finally begins his journey back to Earth. The return journey is less about the physical distance and more about the overwhelming sense of accomplishment and pride that fills his heart. The once unimaginable feat of being the first black pilot to land on Mars has now become a defining moment in history. But as the spacecraft re-enters Earth's atmosphere, he knows this is not just his personal victory. It is a triumph for humanity as a whole. As the spacecraft touches down on Earth, the pilot's return is met with an overwhelming outpouring of love and respect from every corner of the world. News outlets are once again broadcasting his every move, capturing the moment when he finally steps off the spacecraft and back onto solid ground. A grand welcome awaits him, with crowds cheering and applauding, waving flags from countries across the globe. The pilot, who had once faced doubts and skepticism, is now a global hero. His name is on the lips of everyone, and his story is a source of pride and inspiration for millions. From the moment he sets foot on Earth, the pilot is celebrated like a returning hero. Governments, space agencies, and dignitaries are lined up to welcome him home. There are standing ovations, tearful hugs from loved ones, and countless photos taken by those who have waited for this moment. It's not just a welcome for the first black pilot on Mars. It's a celebration of what he has achieved for all of humanity. His mission has inspired people from all walks of life to believe that anything is possible. For every individual who has ever faced adversity, his success is a powerful reminder that with hard work, determination, and the belief in one's abilities, no dream is too big. The pilot is showered with honors and accolades, his achievements acknowledged by world leaders, renowned scientists, and celebrities. His story becomes one of the most talked about narratives in modern history, not just because of the incredible technical feat he accomplished, but because of the barriers he shattered along the way. He has proven that space is not just for the privileged few, it is for everyone. The legacy of his journey extends beyond the confines of the space industry and into the hearts of people around the world. Interviews and press conferences follow, where the pilot shares his experiences and reflects on the challenges he faced. He speaks about the doubts, the fears, and the obstacles he had to overcome, not just as an astronaut, but as someone who has had to navigate the world with a different set of challenges because of his background. Yet through it all, he remained focused on his mission and never lost sight of the bigger picture. His journey was about showing the world that greatness comes in many forms and that anyone, regardless of their background, can achieve the impossible. One of the most touching moments comes when the pilot addresses the younger generation, especially those from underrepresented communities. He encourages them to dream big, to pursue their passions, and to never let the world's limitations define their potential. When I was growing up, he says, I was told that certain things weren't possible for me. But today, I'm standing here, having done what many thought was impossible. And if I can do it, so can you. His words resonate deeply, especially for those who have felt excluded or marginalized in industries where they haven't seen people who look like them succeed. The pilot's story becomes a symbol of hope and perseverance. It is a reminder to the world that dreams, no matter how far-fetched they may seem, are attainable through dedication and hard work. The message he sends is clear. There are no limits to what you can achieve. His return home is not just a personal celebration. It is a message to the world that we all have the power to make history. But it's not just about the accolades and recognition. The pilot's return sparks a global movement. Schools and universities begin to launch initiatives to inspire young people, particularly those from disadvantaged backgrounds, to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM. The space industry begins to see a surge in interest, with more people from diverse backgrounds applying for astronaut programs and space-related careers. The pilot's success opens doors for the next generation of explorers, engineers, and scientists who now believe that space is within their reach. For the pilot, the return Earth is not just a moment of personal achievement. It's the beginning of a new chapter. As he reflects on his journey, he realizes that this was only the beginning. The world now looks to him not just as a hero, but as a beacon of possibility. There is more to be done, more frontiers to explore, and more barriers to break. The pilot's legacy, born from his journey to Mars, will continue to inspire, motivate, and push humanity to dream beyond the stars. And as the world continues to celebrate, the pilot's journey is far from over. He knows that there are still more missions to be completed, more challenges to overcome, and more dreams to fulfill. But for now, as he stands before the cheering crowds, basking in the glory of his success, he knows that his journey has already made a profound impact. His story will live on, not just in history books, but in the hearts and minds of every person who believes that with hard work and determination, the impossible is always within reach. The pilot's name is forever etched in the annals of space exploration, his legacy standing as a beacon of what is possible when determination, courage, and resilience converge. Space agencies and historians alike will remember this moment as a turning point in human achievement. His journey to Mars has rewritten history, proving that the sky, indeed the universe, is not the limit for anyone willing to dream big and work hard. His story, which once seemed like an improbable fantasy, now serves as a powerful reminder that no barrier is insurmountable when driven by purpose and passion. His legacy extends far beyond the boundaries of space exploration. It reaches into every corner of society, inspiring people from all walks of life to challenge the status quo, to defy expectations, and to believe in their own potential. From young children who now look up to space with newfound curiosity, to those facing obstacles in their own lives, the pilot's journey stands as proof that perseverance and belief can break even the most entrenched limits. His name is not just a part of space history. It has become a symbol of hope, a promise that anyone, regardless of their background, can accomplish extraordinary things. As the years pass and more space missions are undertaken, the pilot's story will continue to inspire future generations of explorers, scientists, and dreamers. His success will serve as the foundation for future accomplishments, paving the way for those who come after him to reach new heights in space exploration. Every mission to Mars, every step taken in the advancement of human presence in space, will be measured against the trailblazing steps he took. The lessons learned from his mission will echo through space agencies, encouraging them to embrace diversity and innovation in ways never considered before. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of his legacy is how it reshapes how we think about possibility itself. The pilot's journey demonstrates that success is not dictated by one's race, background, or the obstacles that lie in the way. His victory was not just a personal triumph. It was a collective victory for anyone who has ever felt that the world had set limitations on them. The pilot's journey is a resounding message to the world that your dreams are not defined by where you come from, but by the strength of your will to pursue them. His story is not just the story of a pilot. It is the story of every person who dares to break the mold and defy the odds. It's a story of resilience in the face of doubt, of unshakable belief in one's abilities, and of the willingness to take the risks necessary to achieve greatness. The pilot's success has taught us that, in a world where many will try to hold you back, the true measure of success lies in the ability to push through the obstacles and carve your own path forward. His triumph on Mars serves as a reminder that we all have the power to create change, to redefine what is possible, and to inspire others to do the same. As his name becomes synonymous with pioneering achievement, it is clear that his journey is not just about space. It is about the limitless potential of the human spirit. This story is a legacy of hope, courage, and possibility. It is a call to everyone, regardless of where they come from or what challenges they face, to believe in their own power to change the world. As long as we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, the pilot's legacy will live on, lighting the way for future generations to reach for the stars, knowing that no dream is too big and no obstacle is too great. If you were inspired by this incredible journey, don't keep it to yourself. Share this story with your friends, family, and anyone who needs a dose of motivation. Let's spread the message that no dream is too big and no obstacle is too great. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more epic stories like this. Hit the like button and share this video with your network. Your support helps us bring more inspiring moments to life. Join the community of dreamers and achievers. Let's make history together. Stay tuned for more, because the next epic story is just around the corner.